This is Women with Books, a collection of conversations about your favorite books, media, and all of the fabulous things in life. Curated by me, author Lindsay Emory. I'm so glad you're a part of today's chat. Hello, everyone. This is Lindsay. I have a confession to make. I have been sitting on this interview, just waiting until the Duchess of Sussex has that royal baby. But it is April 29th, and she has not had the baby yet. Apparently, she is waiting on me. Watch. I'll release this episode and it will immediately send Meghan Markle into labor, because that's basically how my episode production life works. I gave my baby name predictions in this chat with Mallory and Kristen, but since then I have had a dream, and we all know that I listen to my dreams. I dreamed that Meghan and Harry had a baby boy and named him Frederick, and they called him Freddie, which is really cute. So now I have to change my official baby name predictions. Okay, it's still going to be Theodora for a girl, because I have to. Meghan, you owe me one, since, you know, I have apparently controlled your womb with this podcast. And for a boy, I'm still going with Henry or Frederick. And yes, I'm probably way off, because these two parents are completely their own people, and they will have amazing taste and pick something that none of us have even thought of. But those are my official Women with Books Sussex baby number 1 name predictions. You heard it here. There. And now, I also need to apologize mightily for not sending out a newsletter last month. Yes, people have called me on this. I'm sorry. It wasn't you. It wasn't your email address. I did not send one out. There are lots of reasons for this, but in the end, there is no excuse. But, okay guys, I am publishing this episode. Today is Monday, April 29th. And I promise that there will be a newsletter by midnight, April 30th, 2019, U.S. Central Time. I can't tell you exactly when tomorrow, but there will be one by April 30th, the end of April, U.S. Central Time. Starting this year, remember, I'm including all the books mentioned in the podcast exclusively in the newsletters, because you listen to podcasts when you're walking your dog and driving your car, and you're not in book research mode at those times. But you're listening to a book podcast and you're like, oh, that sounds really good. So if you signed up for the newsletter, you get all of the books we talk about. You get extra podcast recommendations and extra Q&A from the guests. And I know you're asking right now, how do I hear this? That link to sign up is in the show notes. So with that apology and that promise, please enjoy this episode. Your Royal Highness, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, if you're listening, you may now go into labor. Welcome to Women with Books. I have not one, but 2 guests today. Welcome, ladies.
Hi, Lindsay. How are you?
Hi, Lindsay. Thanks for having us.
Oh, my goodness. This is going to be so fun. I have, I'll go ahead and say your names, and then y'all can kind of go, hey, this is me, so everyone knows who's who. We have Kristen Contino of the Royally Broke blog, and Mallory Bowling of the Palace Avenue blog. Do I have all that correct?
Yes.
Okay, y'all want to just say who's who real quick?
So I'm Kristen.
And I'm Mallory.
Oh, yay! Everyone sounds great. And I'm having you guys on because, one, we all have very similar interest in royal watching. And you two are also the two queens behind the Royally Good Reads book club. So we're going to talk a lot about royals and book clubs and blogging. And so I thought we'd just get kicked off with, I just picked at random. Mallory, you want to tell us how you got started with your blog?
Sure. So I actually started off with an Instagram account, and that kind of came about after I had seen a couple other ladies with some of their really awesome replicate outfits. And, you know, for those that aren't in the know, replicate is when people find outfits that are either exact or sort of similar to what Kate Middleton is wearing. And then that term has sort of slowly morphed into like Repla Meghan for Meghan Markle's style. So I started off with that, and then I decided I wanted to expand my platform just a little bit into a blog. Then, of course, real life sort of got in the way, so I've become pretty delinquent with my posts. Kristen's much better about that. And then we just sort of started this great community of like-minded, royal loving women across the globe. And then from there, we really became friends and started a book club as a result. So that's kind of my story there.
And Kristen, how did you get started with Royally Broke blog?
So kind of similar to Mallory, I had an Instagram account, and, you know, as Lindsay knows, I'm a fiction writer as well. So I was on Instagram, you know, for my author stuff, and I've always been a royal watcher. I mean, my whole life interested in the royal family, and I kind of felt like I needed to separate that a little bit from my, you know, fiction stuff. So I started a separate Instagram account, and actually I chose the handle Royally Broke because a manuscript I was writing at the time, the woman was writing a blog, and that's what it was called. So I chose that account and was like, if I end up selling this book, then that'll be handy to have. So I had the Instagram account and just had it private for a while, just, you know, kind of for me to post about royal outfits and things like that. And then eventually I decided, you know what, I'm going to start a blog. It was right around the time Meghan and Harry got engaged, and I had thought about starting a Meghan blog, but, you know, there are a few out there that are popular, and I thought, okay, I don't really have like a lot to add there. So I kind of wanted to put my own twist on it and talk more about royal fashion, but also just lifestyle stuff, travel. Like I traveled to the UK a lot and that kind of things, even, you know, like housewares or, you know, whatever, like general lifestyle, like an Anglophile lifestyle blog. So I decided to start the blog in January 2018. And then with the royal wedding, it kind of took off, did a lot of media interviews and all that stuff, and I got so busy with that, and I also write for a website, Royal Central now, that my royal stuff, I also have a royal podcast called We'll Never Be Royal, so that kind of took over my life, and I don't really write fiction at the moment, but I'm sure I'll get back into it soon. I'm kind of taking a little hiatus to figure out what I want to do, I think, but yeah, that's kind of how I got started with the blog, and like Mallory said, I think I've become a little bit delinquent lately on that because I'm super busy with Royal Central, but I do try to post, you know, at least once or twice a month, so it's a lot of fun.
Well, I will definitely put links to all your blogs, Instagrams, and other podcasts in the show notes because I know other people are going to want to look those up and hit follow. And Kristen, you went to Windsor for the royal wedding, didn't you?
I did, yeah. That was great.
You went just for that? It wasn't like you already had a vacation planned and then they said, oh, we're getting married. Like...
No. I specifically, like, my husband laughs because the day, you know, they found out they were engaged, he woke me up, like, we woke up and I was like, oh my God. So I'm like jumping up and down. And I was like, we're going to Windsor because back when Will and Kate got married, we were in India for a while for his job. So we were coming back from India through London, and it was just, you know, obviously planned through his work timing. We were there like 3 weeks before Will and Kate got married, and, you know, I missed it. So I was devastated, when they announced the wedding date. And I was like, we're just missing their wedding. And, there was nothing I could do about it. And he said, when Harry gets married, we'll go over. And at the time, he was, like, naked in Vegas. So there was no way in hell we thought, he was getting married anytime soon or maybe ever. So...
Now, to be clear, Harry was naked in Vegas, not your husband.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, yeah, we were... Sorry, I'm taking a moment to regroup. So anyway, he said, yeah, we'll go over. And so when they, got engaged, I was like, yes, we're going for the wedding. And he was like, oh, yeah. I'm like, remember that promise? Which was funny. So, yeah, I booked it, like, as soon as they found out the date. I was, like, literally on my computer, no joke, like, booking a hotel for every weekend in May because they said it's going to be in May, but they didn't say when. So I was like, I'm going to book a hotel in Windsor every single weekend in May and then cancel, like, the other ones, the other weekends, which ended up working out great because I never would have got a room otherwise if I had waited until they said the actual day. So that's what I did.
Oh my gosh, that is so smart. So when did and y'all can just jump in whenever, when did y'all get started following the royals? Was it since childhood, since Diana, or I'm not sure exactly how old everyone is, but...
That's a tough question. I think kind of peripherally I was interested in the royals just, throughout my childhood, just because they were kind of like a constant fixture, through like TV and media. And my aunt is actually British too, so sort of with all of that influence, it was just kind of there. It really took off for me probably when I was in law school, because that was around the time that Kate and William got engaged. One thing that was really cool that actually happened before that is the college I went to for undergrad, the College of William and Mary, has a royal charter. So back in 2007, I was actually able to meet the Queen when she came to campus for a visit. So that was really exciting, and definitely one of those like life-changing experiences.
Oh, that's really amazing. I didn't know that they
crazy.
Charters didn't get revoked after you revolted.
I never knew you met the Queen. How did I not know this?
Yeah, that was crazy. She wore this great hot pink outfit. So that was fun.
Did you get a picture with her?
No, they wouldn't.
Oh,
it's terrible. But yeah,
like that needs to be your banner on all your social, man.
We could take pictures of her, but yeah, she did just kind of like a quick walkabout, and then went to like the main campus building and rang the bell, and it was really cute. Took a little carriage ride through Colonial Williamsburg, and yeah, it was fun. But yeah, I guess probably 2011. Or I guess 10 when they got engaged, but then like obviously the wedding and all of the like Kate mania that started with that was, you know, really when I started following them and following the fashion side of things, but then also sort of looking at like their charity work, and because of course I want to look at them in terms of the whole picture, not just, you know, the fun fashiony side of things. But yeah, that's definitely when it took off, and then I sort of like quietly replicated, so I would, you know, look around for different pieces that kind of look like their style or whatever, but I didn't do it any systematic way. Like some of my friends would, you know, make fun of me when I was like, oh, that looks kind of Katie, I want to maybe try that or whatever. So it didn't become anything serious until when did I start? I think it was like March 2017 maybe. And I had sort of followed Megan separately because I loved Suits. It came on when I was in between my first and second year of law school. So it was, you know, a great legal drama and kind of a way to decompress from like all of the stress. So I loved the show and I loved her character, and I had followed the Tig pretty religiously.
I was wondering, that was going to be one of my questions today, if y'all followed the Tig.
Yes.
Kristen, did you?
No, I didn't at all. I actually had no idea who Megan was until it was announced that they were dating. I was like, who is this? I had to Google her.
Yeah, me too. But I heard about her blog at the time, and then people started, bringing up things that were, for those that don't know, the TIG, and I don't even know where she got that name from, was the name of like her lifestyle blog or something. And that was actually how I got interested in her, because I thought this woman does have taste, and she has a viewpoint, and she has like very strong sense of style, and like I said, a very I wouldn't say outspoken, but she definitely had a viewpoint on things, and I really was like, that is really unique for a potential princess to have in this day and age. Maybe not, but we were just so used to Kate, who was kind of just this. Oh my gosh, she's been
voice almost.
Yeah, and she's become a woman since we've known her, but I think when she first started dating, Wills, she was just 19, 20?
Yeah, very young.
So, anyway, sorry to interrupt. Kristen, have you always followed the royals?
Yeah, my mom was always a huge fan of Princess Diana. I mean, I'm sure I watched the wedding when I was a baby, really little. So I just grew up with that. She was a huge fan of her, and, my grandma loved the Queen, and it was just kind of, in the background. I was interested in them, but I wouldn't say I necessarily super followed them because, I was a kid. But I remember, when Princess Diana died and being devastated and all that. And, I studied abroad in London, and I remember someone I knew said that they saw Prince Charles, they were just walking around and saw Prince Charles at a movie premiere or something. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so jealous. But it's not like I made a point. And this is also, I'm in my late 30s. This is before social media and everything. So it's not like I really had outlets to find out what was going on necessarily like we do now. So it wasn't like I made a point to oh, I'm going to go and look for royal events or whatever. It wasn't really until Will and Kate got engaged that I was, I think more interested. And I kind of followed their relationship in magazines and things like that. And I had a Prince William book. This is super embarrassing. It was I have it upstairs in my house still. It's The Boy Who Will Be King, and it has teenage William on the front. It's like a teen beat special edition book. But yeah, I think became more interested when they got engaged and started following more closely than I had in the past. And I went over, like I said, I was in London right before their wedding, and I was buying souvenirs for the wedding that I wasn't going to, which was sad.
But you'll treasure them anyway.
Yeah, I have Christmas ornaments. I was sadly taking pictures of all the memorabilia and the signs up.
But of the two weddings, don't you think that Windsor maybe was more accessible to the public than the first one? Maybe not, but with all the park and the... No? You don't think there was...
Not really, just because it's so much smaller.
Yeah.
So in terms of hotels and things like that, like I said, I had booked hotels, immediately, but when the day they actually announced the date of the wedding, the hotels had already been gone.
Yeah.
It's just such a small town. There's not that many places to stay. A lot of people came in on the train from London and had to deal with all that. So I think that was a little bit of a hassle, just because, it's just not a huge city. And there was, a smaller route. Everybody, it was very well managed and it was great. And, I didn't have any complaints being there at all. It was run so smoothly, and it was very impressive, actually, how many people were in this, tiny town. And it didn't seem, insane to the point where you're oh my God, nervous or anything like that. And nobody was pushing or shoving. Everybody was so happy and just friendly and happy to be there. So that was great. I think I got on a sidetrack, but
no. I want to come back to this definitely, because we're going to have some other Sussex news to talk about. But I mentioned, and this is one of the things I think my audience is really interested in, is your book club. And so can y'all talk about how you got the book club idea and how you decided to set it up on Facebook, of all things?
So our book club actually came about because of your book. Yeah. So I posted about... Yes.
True story.
Oh
don't know
my
if
gosh,
you
I
knew
didn't know this. No.
Yes. So I posted the cover reveal when the Royal Runaway was, you know,
Yeah.
we were launching the cover thing on Facebook and Instagram and everything. And I posted it, and Mallory commented and was like, "Oh, this looks great. Like, wouldn't that be fun if we had a Royal Book Club?" And I was like, "That's a good idea." So I asked her if she would help. I said I would do it if she helped me run it. So we started talking about it on the side, and you know, decided that Facebook was the best platform for this. Because you can't do anything like that on Instagram. There's really no like good way. So we decided to start it as a Facebook group, and we invited, you know, some of our friends and promoted it on our, you know, blogs and social media and stuff. And now we have, do we have like 300 members, I think?
Yeah, I think so. That's crazy how fast it grew.
Yeah, it grew really quickly. I'm looking at our group now because I was like, I don't even know how many members we have. Yeah, it was great, like how fast, you know, it became popular, and we have a pretty engaged group. We switch between fiction and nonfiction, so we try to, you know, keep it different. Right now we're reading Fergie's memoir, which I love Fergie, so it's really fun. And we discuss it, you know, the last week of the month, so we give people the whole month to read it, and then we just take turns posting questions in our Facebook group.
Well, just as a side note, I love Fergie too, and I would always try and talk to people about her last year, and when I was promoting my book, and I got some gentle feedback that they were like, Fergie's old, and no one wants to talk about her. And I was like, I really want to talk about Fergie. She's like,
she's great.
She's a very interesting person. Here's a memoir and a book club. You can go talk to her. Anyway, Mallory, what's your best advice to other people who are interested in setting up a book club on Facebook?
Honestly, just jump in and do it. I mean, I had sort of dreamed about being part of a book club, you know, for years, because like they're sort of romanticized in a lot of different media. I was like, oh, that would be so fun with, you know, such a great group of people, and we get to discuss awesome books and everything. And, you know, never in my wildest dreams would I have thought it would be in sort of this like great open space medium where, you know, people can come in at whatever time zone they're in and answer questions. It's like very informal but still structured.
Yeah, I agree.
So to kind of just, you know, roll with the punches and see what really works best for you. You know, find a variety of books to try and have something that fits everybody's taste, and, you know, come up with great questions, and most importantly, to have fun.
Definitely. And Lindsay, as you know, you were one of our author guests. We try to do author question and answer sessions, you know, as often as we can, not every month. But, you know, when possible, we do. So I think that helps kind of draw people in and get participation up when they know that an author is going to come into the group and chat with them. We had the Fug Girls last year, which was very exciting, because we both love The Royal We, and that's like one of my personal favorite books. So that was great. And I guess, my other tip would be, because we have people from all over the world in our book club, we really have to just make it open. Like Mallory said, like, it's very informal, so we don't have a set time. I mean, obviously for an author discussion, we have to have it, you know, they're here for 1 hour and you can ask questions when they're there. But the rest of the time, it's like answer whenever you can. So like we post questions throughout the day. It's not like our book club is at 5 p.m. Eastern or whatever. It's like literally, you know, whenever one of us can start in the morning, we'll do it, and then we'll post them throughout the day. Just space it out so people can pop in and out, and it kind of caters a little bit more to, you know, different time zones.
Well, I really love it because it's a really great example of how social media can be used for good and not evil. It's positive, it's fun, and of course I enjoyed when y'all had me as an author, because as an author, you try to respect reader spaces, or a lot of authors do. Like, you know, I'm not going to jump in a conversation if I see people talking about my book generally, because I want them to be able to just, you know, critique it if they want to without me listening. So it was really nice to be invited in and to answer questions, and then to duck out if y'all wanted to pick it apart. That's fine. Yeah. but and I'm sure other authors feel the night, it's a real privilege to, I guess what I'm saying is to be able to come into a reader space and get involved. And I'm still a member, and I see it pop up on my Facebook, and I like check out to see what books y'all are reading and stuff. And so I think you kind of mentioned it, that you go back and forth between fiction and nonfiction books, but I know I've seen you say like, oh, these are our two options for this month. So I forget, do you vote, or do you just do you guys hold the final say so about how to pick a book?
It's kind of a mishmash. Sometimes we've had a book kind of on our radar. Like, I think there's been 1 or 2 times where we know something's coming out a certain month. So we'll say, okay, in December we want to make sure that we get this, royal holiday book that's coming out because it'll be like perfect timing. So we'll kind of earmark that month with that specific book. But other times, if it's not something that we've sort of talked about before, then we'll say, oh, do you have an idea? Do you have an idea? And then we'll kind of put them together and then put out a poll and see what people want. And then in this case with the Fergie book is actually what was the runner-up, I think, last month. So,
yeah. So you read The Royal Nanny.
Yeah. So we ended up doing both after all.
Interesting. So what do you think people like about reading about royals, fiction and nonfiction?
I mean, I think it's escapism, like huge escapism, especially for Americans, because we don't have a royal family and we're not part of the Commonwealth or anything. Like, even in Canada, the Queen is kind of like, always there in the background.
She's on the money.
Yeah. Exactly. I think here it's such something we don't have, and it's a fascination with royalty in general. I mean, I know, like, my British friends joke that you're like, you guys are more interested in the royals than we are. So I think that, I mean, me in particular, I think it's kind of like escapism, and it's, like a fairy tale.
Yeah, absolutely.
What has, and I want an answer from both of you on this one, what's been your favorite royal book that you've read in the club so far? And I'm taking mine out, so you don't have to feel like you have to say
That's tough.
Y'all did read The Royal We.
I'm going to go ahead. Yeah. Sorry, I'm going to jump in.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh my gosh, I had actually read it a couple of years ago when it first came out. So it was a great opportunity to reread it. And then some of the burning questions that I had for the authors when I had read it the first time, we were actually able to ask. And now that we know that there's a sequel coming out,
so excited about that.
That'll definitely be on our book club's radar in the future.
Oh, for sure. I mean, The Royal We is one of my all-time favorite books, so I was happy to reread that. But I will give for my answer The Gown by Jennifer Robson, which was an amazing book. It's about the women who worked on Princess Elizabeth, now the Queen's wedding dress, and it's historical fiction. It's really, really good. I highly recommend it.
Are there any other royal books coming out that y'all are excited about?
I think there's one called Princess coming out about Queen Elizabeth's early life, and I'm really excited about that one. That's by Jane Dismore.
And of course, y'all saw the new Jasmine Guillory one that's coming out this December.
I think so.
It's the Royal Holiday or something.
So 2 of the books we really are looking forward to that come out this summer are The Golden Hour by Beatrice Williams, who's one of my absolute all-time favorite authors. I love, love, love her books. I can't recommend them enough. And it's about the Duke and Duchess of Windsor in the Bahamas, I believe. And then there's another one called Meet Me in Monaco about Grace Kelly and that royal wedding, and that's by Hazel Gaynor and Heather Webb. So that is a definite must-read for us, too.
Yes. Yeah, the Windsors, for those that don't know, the Duke of Windsor was appointed to be ambassador to, or I don't know if it was ambassador, something to the Bahamas.
Oh, I didn't know that.
During World War II, yeah. And which is really interesting given his German sympathies.
Yeah.
And so, to what extent were they just trying to get him out of Europe and not cause any problems? I don't know. I don't really know all the history about that. But, yes, I'm going to be reading those as well. What is there... Well, is there a real-life royal or royals or subject about the royals, and we can go any royal family, that you would like to read more about and you haven't yet?
I'm really interested in the Swedish royal family, actually. And I haven't read any, biographies or anything like that on them, although I'm guessing if they exist, they're probably written in Swedish, which I do not know. So I should probably investigate that. But I feel like I need to expand, some of my nonfiction reading out of the British royal family. But that's, primarily my interest. And, when I write for Royal Central, I primarily focus on the British royals, but also I do write about the Swedish royals as much as I can, because I find them very interesting and down to earth and just seem really cool.
Yeah,
Mallory?
definitely.
You agree with Swedish?
I would definitely agree with Swedish. Also, I would say Mary of Denmark is really interesting, kind of given her background, having come from Australia. I love the whole story of how she met Frederick and how he was just, this guy named Freddie at a bar when they met during the Olympics. And that's such a cute story, and how she's definitely, in the same situation that a lot of us wish that we were, a commoner swept off our feet by Prince Charming, that sort of thing. So I'd be really interested in reading a little bit more about her life and kind of how it changed from being just a normal person in Tasmania to being, the wife of the future king. So that's pretty cool. And also I love the Monegasque royals too. I know we sort of talked about them a second ago with the books that we're looking forward to, but I do love Princess Caroline and Stephanie and Prince Albert and all of their kids, and so I definitely would love to read a little bit more about them too.
Yeah, I'm interested in that book. I really don't know much. I don't particularly follow them, but what's funny is I went to my husband's high school reunion last year and found out this guy he went to high school with his cousins with Grace Kelly, and he was over there and was hanging out with them. I was like, wait, so cool. What? And I didn't know this until basically after we left, so I couldn't ask him any questions about it, and I was devastated. My husband's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, because I guess if you're cousins with Grace Kelly, you're cousins with Prince Albert too.
Yeah.
He's second cousin or whatever. Oh my gosh.
Because she's from, the Philly area. That's where I live, so yeah.
That is so cool.
I love Princess Mary of Denmark and her husband. I totally agree with you. I love that story. And as we were talking, I was wondering, since she is Australian, I wonder if there's some Australian books that we would be able to get our hands on and be able to understand, because they'd be in English and not Danish.
Yeah, there might be. I'm sure there are biographies on them, and I just admit I've never looked for them.
They just also I went down a rabbit hole last year, and I posted some pictures on my social of them, and they just are. They look like they're really into each other, and kind of like Meghan and Harry do too sometimes. You're like, yes, keep that spark alive after 4 kids and a set of twins and wearing all the crowns. Do it.
I just Googled this while we're talking, and there's a book called Something About Mary, From Girl About Town to Crown Princess, so we can read that.
Excellent.
That would be good. And I agree about the
summer 2019.
Yes. And I agree about the, you said it better than I, Monegasque, is that how we say it?
Yeah.
They are definitely kind of the family that I would want to go hang out with at the disco. They are the ones that are partying and going ahead and, drinking all day. And I don't know, you just have this feeling that they are probably the least formal of all of the houses. I'm not really sure why I get that feeling, but probably because Albert had girlfriends in every city for a while. Anyway, what? Okay, we've already established both of you follow the British royal family very closely, and we've talked about Meghan leaving a social media imprint. Is there any indication that Kate and Meghan are readers, or have they ever talked about books or carried them around or anything like that?
I think
they
both are.
Yeah. Megan sorry, let me say it again. Megan wrote about books on the TIG pretty frequently. So there's kind of, I think actually on Megan's Mirror, they have a list of books that she had read.
Ooh,
if you check that out. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've read that on there before. Kate was pictured in a bookstore and she purchased the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society, which is one of my favorite books ever. It's so good on Audible. And yeah, I'd imagine that she's, a pretty avid reader. She seems like she is. I love how I'm saying that like I know her. But I know Megan, she definitely posted about books on the TIG, so she seems like she's a very big reader herself.
If you could recommend one book to Kate and or Megan, or both, what would it be?
Well, since we know Kate likes historical fiction, I would recommend a book that I just finished. I just went on a trip to India a couple of weeks ago, and this was one of the books I took with me. The Alice Network, which is...
Oh, yeah, that book's so good.
Such a good book, yes. It takes place in 2 separate timelines, and they converge at the end, and it's just such a beautiful story, and I hope she would like it.
I think she would
if she liked the Guernsey book. Mm-hmm. Since I know her, obviously.
Yeah. I'd give her content warning for torture because she's a new mom and she might not, feel comfortable with that part. But I just know after I had kids, then I got really sensitive about, I remember my husband was watching this Bruce Willis war movie and I was like, I can't take it. So Kate, just a content warning, but it's a good book in the end.
Yes. A little bit of torture, but it's great.
Yeah, all about females doing the job. Do you have another book that you would recommend, Kristen?
On that note, I really loved The Lilac Girls.
I haven't read that one.
Was kind of
it's like universally loved.
No, it's historical fiction, but it's tough. It's about World War II, and there's definitely concentration camp storyline. It was an extremely difficult book to read at times, but it's probably one of the best I've read in a while. It's really excellent, and she has a prequel that I think just came out or is about to come out. Martha Hall Kelly is the author, but it's really good historical fiction, and I think it's just important to read and know those stories and remember what happened and kind of understand it. So I think if Kate does like historical fiction, I think she might enjoy that book. Megan seems to have interests all over the place. Some of the books that she listed, I think she likes kind of like self-help type, nonfiction books, maybe a little more serious, I guess you'd say. Mm-hmm. And that's not typically the type of book I read, so I don't know if I really would have a recommendation for her.
I wonder, didn't they say that she was getting tutored by Charles on British history and things, so I wonder if she's kind of, switched gears a little bit and reading about the British side of things. I don't know.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I loved when she had her Instagram public still. She would have a lot of her books in kind of the background of a lot of her photos of her house, and even some of the most gorgeous coffee table books were ones that I just absolutely wanted to gobble up. Yeah, I think it was the coverture, and it had different rooms of famous people's houses and things like that. She had different fashion books, but then on the flip side she would have biographies, and then the Tao of Pooh and the Tay of Piglet and Who Moved My Cheese. So I mean, her interest clearly ran the gamut. So I would honestly recommend maybe something completely different for her.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe something really fun.
Yeah.
Like a chick novel.
Like Shopaholic.
Like Shopaholic. Yes.
Which I just posted about Shopaholic. Christmas comes out in October. Sophie Kinsella is one of my favorites. She's just so fun.
I'm putting that on my list right now.
So fun. It's just like pure entertainment.
We were talking about the Windsor wedding, and we're coming up on the first anniversary. However, probably before the first anniversary, our newlyweds are going to be expanding their family. I don't know. What do you think? Or is it going to happen before their first anniversary?
Oh, I don't know. I hope so. I'm so excited. Oh my gosh, that would be wonderful.
I would be shocked if it wasn't, because she said she was due end of April, beginning of May. That was like her quote. That
I just thought it was
crowd.
I just thought it was a complete misdirection. I swear I thought it was a honeymoon baby and the baby was coming in March. So the fact that she's still pregnant now and we're recording this the third week of April, I'm astounded. So now I'm like, well, maybe she wasn't due until the end of May. You know, I don't know, but she's so petite, it's hard to tell, right? Because she needs to be standing next to a normal sized person pregnant. I don't know. So, okay, we got to talk predictions. Do you guys think it's going to be a boy, girl? I'm hearing lots of people say twins at this point, maybe because she was carrying large. I don't know. What do y'all think?
Oh, I'm going to go with girl.
Yeah, I'm going with girl too. I don't think it's twin. I know a lot of people have been saying twins. I don't know. They said baby in the press release. I feel like they would have said babies, but maybe they wouldn't. I don't know.
And do we have name predictions?
Not Diana.
No.
Yeah, no.
I don't really have a prediction, to be honest. I feel like they could go either way. Like, they kind of have a little more leeway to be slightly less traditional.
Maybe like a traditional middle name.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they used Diana as, like Charlotte has Diana as one of her middle names.
Maybe Frances. That way there's still homage to Diana, but it's not quite as direct.
I think Spencer would be really cute as a first name.
Oh, I love that.
But I don't know if that would be too,
on the nose.
Not controversial, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read something online that since the boys, the grown men who are William and Harry, they did sort of have a falling out with their uncle, the Earl of Spencer, and that perhaps that wasn't going to be on the short list. But I feel like Meghan also, she makes bridges, so you never know. Oh, behind the scenes, she might be, reconciling everybody.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That would be nice.
I don't know. I was hoping if it was a boy, I don't know why maybe y'all know. Why couldn't it be Henry? And do they not do the name for the father because they're royals? But there's like Henry the Ninth and I don't know. I just love the name Henry. I don't know if it just is like
kind of confusing. You know what I mean? Like, especially in the media, if you're talking about, like Harry, and then it would be like, oh, which one? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he's such a Harry. He's not a Henry, and that's his given name.
Yeah,
so that's why I was thinking maybe they could make it work. I just love I thought of a little baby Henry would be so cute, or
that would be cute.
A Theodore or a Theodora.
Yeah, Teddy would be cute.
Teddy. Oh, I love that.
I could see that because it's a Doria connection there with her mom.
Yeah.
And then I also think I'm a big fan of Camilla. I don't know. How do you guys feel about Camilla?
I love Camilla. I'm looking, currently sitting at my desk. I have a card that she signed, that she wrote to me, because I sent her a copy of my book, because she's a huge reader, actually, Camilla, and champions a lot of literacy causes. So for her birthday, when she turned 70, I sent her a copy of my book. And so she sent me a card back with, she wrote my name and personalized it and everything. So I have it in a little frame on my desk.
I didn't know that she was. I thought it was so cool. So many people send them stuff, and they've been saying, "Oh, you should send a copy of your book to them," and I actually have the English copies. Maybe they'd want an American copy. I don't know. Because I have a different cover in England. But I should, because I bet I could get something back.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But that is kind of awkward, too. Like, here, read about this made-up princess.
Yeah, mine isn't royal related, so maybe a little different. But still, at the same time, I think, yeah, you'll always get something back.
I just think Camilla is a hoot. She's another one that I think I'd want to sit next to her at a dinner party and be like, all right, give me the scoop.
Oh, yeah, and, absolutely.
Yeah, she's just so, like, seems so warm and engaging, and just people have said, I mean, a lot of the royal reporters say that she's their favorite member of the family just because she just is very, like, a warm person and is kind to them and just, you know, class act. Not that the others aren't, of course, but I think she maybe a little more than others is, like, more engaging with people.
I love the overtures that she's made to both Kate and Meghan as they were kind of entering into the royal family. I think that was really cool because she didn't have to kind of go out on that limb, but she really made sure that they felt warm and welcomed, and I think that's just wonderful.
Yeah, that was the first appearance that Harry and Meghan had, right, after their wedding, was with Camilla and Charles.
Yep.
Yeah, they had a garden party. One of my friends went to a garden party. She got invited. She moved to Scotland to be with her partner, and she was working with an organization over in Scotland and ended up getting invited to a garden party. This was a few years ago, so it was before Meghan was in the family or anything. I don't think Kate, I don't know if they were married yet, or they might have been married, but I don't think she was there. But she's not really, like, interested in the royal family, which is, like, the terrible irony of the situation. I was like, no, why can't I go?
I'll take your invitation.
Oh, that would have been so amazing.
It would have been.
Actually, I'll have to ask. I'm going to Scotland in June, so I'll have to actually ask her more about it, because at the time it was just kind of like, oh yeah, I'm going, and I was like, what? Like, she posted about it on social media. I don't think I ever really heard much about it, but I think she said there was a ton of people there, so I don't think it was really a situation where you're like, oh, I'm, you know, chatting for a while with someone. I don't know if she actually even met the Queen or anyone there, but I'm sure it was cool to go to, at least.
How can people get in touch with you if they want to talk more about replicates and baby Sussex and all of our good topics?
So our book club is Royally Good Reads. So if you just search on Facebook for Royally Good Reads, you can request to join. We just ask people a little question like, where did you hear about us? So we know people aren't, you know, random crazies. And then we'll approve you to join the group. Mm-hmm. And I am on Instagram at Royally Broke, and Facebook the same, Royally Broke, and Twitter I'm Royal Kristen C, Kristen with an I
and a K.
Yes. Not Ian. If you're a Kristen, you agree with me. Not Ian. Ian. And I'm at royallybroke.com.
Cool. And you, Mallory, how can people get in touch with you?
So also via the Facebook group for Royally Good Reads. On Instagram, and that's probably my primary method of contact, I am lady.m, as in Mallory, .replicates. And I'm on Twitter, and this is super embarrassing, I actually don't know my handle. Okay, I'm looking it up now.
I thought you were Palace Avenue.
Yes, I am. It's Palace_Avenue. Yeah, so I just reused an account that I had for years and years and years, and I just basically go on there to get royal news. I'm not a huge tweeter, but I love seeing what you guys post. So yeah, Instagram's more my medium of choice.
Well, thank you both for being on. This has been a great conversation, and I know we could probably keep talking and talking and talking and talking and talking about royal fashion and books and babies and weddings and gossip, but I have to let you go. So thank you so much for being on, and I'll see you in the book club.
Thank you so much for having us. This was great.
Thank you for joining me today. If you love this conversation, please leave a review or consider supporting the podcast at the link in the show notes. For a list of books discussed in this episode and other fabulous content, sign up for my newsletter at womenwithbooks.com. And remember, keep reading.